Hey, Algebra 1 students, welcome to part 3 of the help video covering lessons 12 and 13. So we're moving on to lesson 13. So in lesson 12, what we did is we took everything we've been doing with equations, moving them around, reorganizing them, connecting them to the graph of a line. And then in lesson 12, we solved a system of linear equations, which means two linear equations that are related to each other. Okay? We took those situations and we found out that if you graph both lines and the two lines cross, that where they cross, that point is a pair of values that satisfies the system because it is a solution to both lines, to both equations. So this is the second of 3 ways that we are eventually going to learn about how to solve a system of linear equations. And this is called substitution. Okay, this way. So here's the warm-up. Okay. So the warm-up is going to give you pairs of equations, and it's going to ask you is, could this system be represented by these two lines? Okay, so in other words, this line here, 8 x plus 2y equals 8, is it possible, and this is x equals -5, okay, could this system be represented in this way? Okay. An example would be, in this case, no, this could not, because this is x equals -5. So yes, this is a vertical line, x equals -5, but it's on the wrong side of the vertical axis, isn't it? If it was -5, it should be over here somewhere, and it's not. Okay, so you're going to go through the set of equations, and you're going to make similar determination, and you're going to have to think about it. That's the whole point of this, is to get you to look at these things and think about the fact, is this possible that this could be true? Okay? So there are several of them, so we're going to skip through this. And we're going to go to 13.2. So the first big activity after the warm-up for lesson 13. So you're going to have you're going to take some time to solve these systems, and then you're going to share these, hopefully, with some other people who you are sitting with in class. And of course, we're not going to have a whole class discussion. But I want you guys to notice this. They're giving you, once again, young people, they're giving you the same information. They're not constantly throwing new things at you. Okay, if you look at these are the exact same systems. Okay, they're the exact same systems that you just did in the warm-up. All right, and you're welcome to solve. They don't tell you how to solve them. So you could solve them by looking at in Desmos. You could solve them by doing some guess and check. Okay. So there are things that you can do to try to solve these and see if there's a solution to them. All right, so that's what you're going to do for this beginning of this activity. And then, of course, we're not going to be able to do this because you're going to be doing this yourself. So let's take a look at this third system. So this is the new method that you're going to be learning in this lesson. It is called substitution. Okay, so here you can see that they found the value of x. Okay, they took this equation, 3x equals 8, and they solved it for x, meaning they isolated x. You've been doing this for several lessons. Okay, it's not anything new. The new part is taking this piece that you just solved for, okay, and dropping it into the equation in place of x. Now, why would you do that? Well, everybody knows that you cannot solve an equation that has two variables. All of these equations that we've solved that start off with two variables, we've always been able to have one of those variables either given to us or we've been able to figure it out. Okay? In substitution, you solve for one, you take that number, you drop it into the other equation, okay, in place of the variable. Now look and see what we have. We only have y. So now I have something I can solve for. Okay, so now I can solve for y, and because I already solved for x, I now have my point. And if you put these two equations into Desmos, you would see that this is your answer. 8/3 is really close to 3, and y equals 7 is a horizontal, it's a y equals 7. So if your vertical coordinate is 7 and your horizontal coordinate is really close to 3, if you put these two equations into Desmos, you would see that this is the point at which they cross. Okay? So here, they did it a slightly different way. This is very unique. Okay? They took 3x equals 8, and they just substituted the 8 in for 3x. So they didn't even do any arithmetic on here. They just took this number and they dropped it in place of this term. It was very clever. Okay? And you can see that they ended up with the same answer. All right? So once again, before we move on, I want to say that this is how you solve a system by substitution. You isolate one of your variables, okay? And then you substitute whatever you get into the other equation, which allows you to now only have one variable to solve for. You're going to solve for that variable, and then you'll either have a solution or you won't. They repeat that for this other system, okay? And they show you once again, pardon me, how you can solve this system, another one, okay? They also give you a definition, okay? You then have another activity that I'm not going to go through in detail, but it's 4 more systems, and they don't want you to graph them. So they want you to practice solving them, okay? So I'm going to give you a hint on this first one, and then I'm going to go to the end and finish. So you can see that they've already isolated x. X equals y plus 4. So if you took this expression and you dropped it into this equation in place of x, then you would see that you only have y's to solve for. You only have y's, which you know how to do. So in a case like this, you're going to solve for y, and you're going to get a number, and you're going to take that number and drop it into one of these equations. I would put it in this one personally, if rather than this one, because you can see that once you know what y is, if you drop it in here, then all you have to do is add 4 to it, and that equals x. Okay? And once you have a solution, or not, you know, you're going to, at this point, these are all going to have solutions. You are going to have the point at which the two lines cross. Okay? And once again, if you look in this lesson, you can see they're telling you what you can do. They're giving you hints to help you. That's the purpose of these statements right here. Okay? So now let's synthesize the lesson. So this is what they wanted you to get out of it. Here they gave you 3 different systems. Okay? And they're asking you which one would you solve by substitution. Okay? I will give you a hint. I would solve system 2 by substitution because they've already isolated y. Okay? It's already isolated for you. This is the type of system that you want to solve by substitution. If you don't have this situation where they've either already isolated a variable or it's super easy to isolate one, I would use a different method. Okay? So that's what they want you to get out of this part. And then here are the statements, the learning goals that you should be able to answer at the end of this lesson. And here's a couple more. And that's it, young people. That is it. So thank you for listening, and I'll see you in the next video.